Now, we've known for some time, of course, that Oculus are working on a new headset. We've talked about it on the show before, and we kind of stated that it was likely going to be announced during Oculus Connect 7, which is later this year. But this is the first time we've ever seen any images of a headset. And these images came from a source on Twitter known as Walking Cat. He's a notorious leaker of tech from companies such as Microsoft and Samsung, and he even previously leaked the HP Reverb G2 a full week ahead of its official announcement, so he does have some credibility. But further to the images that he showed, which were kind of like promotional renders that you would see on like a website or something like that, we also got some further images leaked from an anonymous Redditor who posted some more sort of raw looking images of the headset itself, with sort of like stickers on them from the factory warning about, I think it was FDC compliance and stuff like that, giving more credibility, of course, to these other rumors.
Probably a developer, I guess.
I guess so, yeah, because I think they posted on Reddit and then they quickly deleted their account, so it was kind of on there, and by that point it was already shared. Yeah.
Imagine if they find out you're that one developer who.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to be that
then
person.
You're out of the whole business, I guess.
No. So let's talk about it, because I think these images are super exciting. There's lots of interesting aspects of the design to talk about, and I think we'll just go over it kind of step by step. And maybe we should just start with the design, because for those of you that are listening to the show, you should check out the images. We've all posted them on our Twitter account, so go check them out there. But one of the biggest things about this headset design is that it's completely white. So what do you guys think about the new white design? Are you digging it, or you want to go back to the sort of black headsets?
Well, first of all, those first renders that you mentioned, the headset was white, and then the developer guy posted it, or girl, and then it was gray, kind of. Or is it maybe the light that shines on it? But
I think it's
gray,
the light.
right?
Do you remember this? We had like the exact same thing when the Go landed. Like initially it looked like silver, and then when you saw it under certain conditions, it looked like this horrible gray color. And then the end product is okay. Like it's a nice kind of gray, but this is
like a mix of white and gray, maybe.
You don't know until you see it in production, but I still think that we've got two sets of images here. Like the one that Mike was talking about, which is asset tagged, and obviously had the serial numbers bleeded out or something like that. I think that's an older version of the same headset that you're looking at, and then the promo images, because of the change of the strap, because you've got this kind of very quick add-on Go strap on that initial image, and then you switch over to kind of a hard strap on the new one.
Oh no, I think that is the same strap. It's just the way that they've done it in the render that makes it look more rounded and rigid, but I think it is actually loose like the initial images, because
I don't think so.
It's the same with the Go promotional images. They used the same round look. Like it didn't look like a loose strap in the rendered images. It looked like a round strap. So I think this is like.
I would disagree there based on what I'm seeing in the image. Just in terms, what I think is, and I know we're not talking strap just yet, but you said color, right? Do you like this color? A lot of people are talking about white with fingerprints. I mean, I shared a horrible image of my original CV1 picture with some of the other tubers, and like the black for me, I have weird like grease on my hands that if I touch anything black, like a matte black poster, like that poster behind me, if I put my hand on there right now, my fingerprints will be on there for life. Like I've got that kind of weird context to me. So anything black, I have to stay away from. Anything black and glossy or matte. So white for me, fine. I will accept it. I think it's kind of a cool look, and it is funny that they kind of stole from PS5. It's like the same kind of look and feel.
It depends on what like coding you like paint over it. For example, I'll have like an Xbox controller that is also kind of like white. After 2 years, it's still not dirty, even that I'm holding it in my hands nonstop. It's sometimes what you paint over it. So if that's a good coating, it's fine. I guess.
Okay. So you liking this new white design then, or are you sort of thinking?
I care about what's going on the inside. I think black is usually better in terms of how it's gonna look after a couple of years, but again, dude, like for me, a VR headset it's about what's really.
To me, I think it's
the problem that I see with these images that we don't have a date on them. We don't know how old these images are or when these renders were made, and I think that is still like a problem with making an estimation of like what stage are we looking at. And that being said, also I wouldn't automatically assume that this is the only color that they're having. mainly because I know that if you make a prototype, you're gonna save on making materials, and maybe the prototype is just like, in the old days when they were making computers, there would always be that standard off-color white just because it was cheaper to produce. So it could be that this is just like a prototype that they have there that is just not colored, but that the ultimate version will still have a certain dipping pattern, or will have
maybe you don't like the thing
color.
The thing is, you don't have a date, but what we do know is the Oculus Connect is around the corner, and that usually things leak right before things launch. So, and I think like for this conversation, it's of course fun to say that we assume this is the latest version, because otherwise we're gonna be like, okay, so this could be version 2 point something this, and like I guess this is close to.
I think so, and I think you wouldn't go to the effort of making like rendered images like that look this fancy if that wasn't the final design.
And you don't you don't just leak out of nowhere. This is also a little bit of marketing that is going on. So you do it right before the event, and you're not gonna launch some kind of like prototype on Reddit.
Yeah, and plus, like for me, I think it's important for Oculus to distinguish this headset apart from the others. Because if you go to a friend or someone doesn't really know about VR, and all they need to know is the fact that the white one is the latest version, then it just makes it easier from a new buyer's perspective to buy the right headset.
That is what I think as well. Like if they indeed go with such a bold color, I mean, not that white is so special in terms of like the color pattern, but it is very different from their previous headsets. So while we initially, at least I thought that they might go for like a silent upgrade, saying like, okay, we're gonna upgrade the Quest to a Quest like 1.5 or something like that, and just like the PlayStation does that with a PlayStation version 2. But that's not really what's happening, because if they're indeed going to release this with like a new color, this is really like to show off and to, like you say, this is something different.
But they also learned from the past, because when we were at PAX and they were trying to sell the Rift S to people on the Quest, they had to actually do quizzes with them to tell them what the differences were. So doing this is of course way smarter, and I think that's the main reason why it has this color.
Because like remember at Christmas, those horror stories of kids that wanted a Quest that ended up getting something completely different because of the confusion in the market, because there's so many just generic looking black boxes in the market. Whereas with this, it stands out as a brand new product. So hopefully this Christmas, if it does come out, kids saying to their parents, just get the freaking white one, they'll get what they want.
But there's another thing on the color though. I mean, if I dare say it, I think that a white headset is probably more attractive to female buyers than a black headset would be. It just has that kind of sleek, chic appeal, and it just goes.
It needs to be rose gold.
Goes easy. God, not the rose gold thing. Goes easy, on the eyes. The one thing is, like, I think in that color scheme, it's, as you say, it's like really easy to take it apart from any other headset, and it's very interesting that they sunset the Go. In the same step. Like sunset the Go, these things start leaking. I mean, in my opinion, if you're asking yourself the question, and similar to what Nathan's saying there, is this an intentional leak or is this actually, a breach? I think this is an intentional leak.
Why would a developer leak this stuff? If you are working on a game, you're not gonna put yourself on the spot. It's complete BS. It's the same with when other headsets popped up. People only leak it if they have, let's say, for example, the guy, the cat guy, he does very well on social media with these leaks, but something that I think is interesting, that because it has this gray color, or it is white color, we'll soon find out what it is, but for some people it's like, Oculus just goes for that color scheme now. It doesn't mean anything else than that. Other people, of course, compare it to the Go because the Go had a similar color. So you have opinion-wise, everywhere, it already splits in two there, just based on the color. But the color could mean nothing, It could be just like, just go for a different thing. It's a good strategy, but it has nothing to do with the Go.
One other point with the color, though, is price. Similar to if you're going to like a supermarket, about the color of the box, like, black tends to be aligned to like a premium product, whereas white tends to be the cheaper one, like a white box, white, similar to we saw with the Go, like that kind of, I'll give it that terrible gray color, looks cheap. But the whole point is you want to make your cheap product look cheap so that you've got that already in your head when you're looking to buy it.
But honestly, if you move on to design right now, it looks very cheap anyways.
Do you think so?
Very simplistic. Yeah.
Well, like, so are you talking like I see there's two hemispheres here. There's like there's the whole hemisphere of like the branded product images that look quite sleek, and then you've got the, as you say, like near Go gray model that's sitting on a table.
So to make it clear, I believe that those two leaks are the same pictures, just like Mike. So I get it. Like you see them differently.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why, like, based on that, I think it has a pretty simplistic design compared to the Quest. Okay, if I compare it to what we already have.
Yeah.
You know, if you come from nowhere and you never bought a headset,
and certainly from what we, you know, and I don't think it will come in any other colors, because from what Bloomberg was saying, you know, like a month ago or whatever in their leaked sort of article then, was that, you know, the focus was making the production more streamlined, because that was a big problem with, you know, the demand of the Quest. They were struggling to produce it because of some components. So they obviously wanted to streamline this manufacturing process, and offering different colors is going to complicate that even further. So I think this is just the new design. They've stripped off the material to make it lighter, easier to produce, and hopefully these cost savings will then be passed on to the consumer as well. But
so I'm gonna throw in something that is even more spicy. Okay,
go for it.
Because of that simplistic design, and again, like, we don't know anything. None of us really knows anything.
No, this is all speculation at this point.
But I think we're pretty much to the point where we can say that these pictures are real in a way, and that we already predicted that a new headset would come out. I'm not sure if this is what we were expecting, because what I think personally is that looking at this build, looking at this simplistic design, and the way it just, you know, like, tells a story, I think this is a headset that is going to focus on the entertainment and social part of VR, just like the Go once did.
I also think
much,
that I
so
think
it's pretty much wait. So it's pretty much a successor to the Go. I'm not saying a replacement of the Go, and uses the, like, certain features that make the Quest so great, and uses that. But it's gonna be to me, it looks like a social headset. You know, like, why I think that is because that strap is not telling me, hey, you're a gamer, go and play with this strap. It just, the whole design doesn't scream gaming. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. And that could mean, okay, and now I'm going really deep down the rabbit hole, is that this could be, we could, like, for everyone who owns a Quest, okay, this could look like a downgrade. But for the people who want to go social, it's not a downgrade. It's exactly what they want, because they don't, like, you could still game on it just like the Go, but not like you would on the Quest. The Quest is like a gaming focused headset. And then it could be that they are gonna update the Quest that we have now with a new head strap as we wanted, you know, and maybe a little bit lighter, some minor features that we want to see change, but I don't believe that Oculus will decide to completely overhaul the Quest to the next level. But I mean, it just came out a year ago, so I think we're gonna see we're gonna see two headsets. We have the Quest, and I don't know what it's
okay. So
the problem that I have with that, though, is that the reason why the Quest is so successful is it's because it's a gaming headset. Not because it's a social device. And the reason why the Oculus Go was shifted out was because it wasn't a gaming headset. It was mainly a social device. So I can't, I mean, maybe they will, but from that perspective, I can't imagine them to now make a new device specifically made only for the social experience that they're gonna offer.
I mean, Facebook still wants VR to be social. They're just
but as
not really doing a great job of it.
Platform, exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
the platform that they're given.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg said he wants 1 billion people in VR, right? And those are not just gamers; those are the average Joes. If you see the marketing that they constantly push, they want more average Joes in there, and they don't care about gaming. And
but who's going to buy a headset?
I'm not saying they're gonna
go into Facebook.
No, but I'm not saying, like, you can't play games on it, but just not the games that we want to play. Like, I feel like us gamers are, when we see a new leak, it's like, that's for me, I want that. That strap, I don't like it. I don't like these. But who knows? Maybe it's not for us. It's for my mom.
So the thing is, right? So Quest owners generally complain about the weight, right, and the strap and the audio. So I'm surprised that this doesn't address those issues, because they were the three main things that the community were banging on about. However, what if they launched this as a sort of a cheaper model, because it's easier to produce, so they pass those savings on to the consumer. So maybe it's like $299, you know, making it even more accessible to the wider public out there. And they then offer an optional pro strap option accessory that you can upgrade it, that then adds all the other features that you might have wanted.
It depends.
I think it's
it depends on the software, on what is in there, on what is it offering more than the Quest then. Can I still play all the games that I play on Quest?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be the same in terms of like content available. We just don't know the internal specs right now.
The thing I've been seeing on social media is that still we have this atmosphere that the Go was a headset that sucked, that had no potential, nothing. Like a lot of people have never tried it. They have never seen those social features. They have never seen what gets developed behind the scenes. For example, my brother works with Go's, and people in in the healthcare love it. It's getting used a lot. It's just that 3DOF, yes, was kind of on the edge, and that's why I think they're just gonna try it again with a cheaper model that is now 6DOF, because that's really nice to have. So I think what you're saying, Mike, I totally agree with that. Maybe you could still game on it, but if you want to downgrade it, you also have to maybe, like, if they want to sell for a cheaper price, that might also mean hardware-wise. Like, the Quest is already running on its limit, I feel like. If you downgrade the hardware even more, what are you going to play on it? So I feel like if you just use it for the entertainment part, social, you don't need much power. So you could technically downgrade a little bit. I think we're already on the edge with the Quest that we have right now.
Yeah, we are.
But are you saying that you will still be able to play all of the Quest games on this downgraded device then?
I think so. There's no way that they could segregate the market into two different headsets and two different stores that are standalone.
But can you downgrade more than the Quest already did? Because the Quest, as I said, is already pretty...
But like the hardware is becoming cheaper since the Quest originally launched, so like the chipsets will have evolved, maybe it's got the 835.
What you're saying is that this will replace the Quest?
I think so, yeah.
Replace the Quest. I don't think it's going to replace the Quest.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We seem to be at a divide here, and just to challenge one of the points you made earlier, Mike, because you were talking about the comfort and the balance of the headset, which is one of the main complaints, right? Comfort. But like what I see in this headset, when I see it, and particularly in the most recently leaked images, is a really shallow headset that's balanced to a point and uses a feature that no headset to date that I've seen has used, which is like a nose hole. Like they've got a specific cutout for your nose to kind of like insert your nose between the lenses. It doesn't poke below, no flaps. Instead, you have these like rubber eye cups, which could be used to do two things that are really beneficial. On the side, when you see the positioning of the strap as well, like where the strap connects to the headset, it's at a more forward position than they've done before. Probably as far forward as they can to get that balance a little bit better. They've cut out weight in the headset. That's really clear to me. And they've kind of brought it closer to your face. This will do two things. Number one, it addresses the comfort factor in terms of the overall weight of the headset. The positioning of the fulcrum point will balance it out. And the lenses coming closer to your eyes perceivably could help your FOV. You could actually get a slightly better field of view in these lenses.
But at this point, you think that the strap is going to be rigid at the back, don't you? Like you think it's going to be?
Yeah. See, what I took from those promotional images is that this was the kind of story in my head. Was they first were prototyping and they put the Go strap on, which is a lovely soft strap if you want to lie down. It's the best strap for lying in bed or whatever. But it's not good for aggressive Beat Saber or 6DOF games. It's just not. It's too slippery for that.
As I said, it doesn't scream for gaming.
Exactly, it doesn't scream for. And that's why I think that what they've got on there is actually a soft top strap, but then coupled with what looks like quite an ingenuitive belt strap that kind of has some connector here that allows you to adjust the size of it, but it's actually rigid. And I don't mean hard rigid, but like a firm plastic.
The problem is, if you look at the darker grey images, the adjustments dial or the adjustment bits at the back are exactly the same as on the render. So I think they are exactly the same, and I think it is going to be a soft Go-like head strap.
But do you think like that weird like sidebar material that's on there as well? Because on the gray images, you actually see and I'll zoom in here for a chat what I'm talking about. On the gray images, you see a kind of what looks to me like a flat white plastic along the side, whereas in the gray images, it looks like a material, like a material that's actually got a kind of like a great pattern to it. That I think for two things, I think it would end up looking cheap really fast because it'll get dirty, won't be washable, kind of like the fabric on the CV1 or the Quest at the moment. So I'd be really surprised if they ship with that. But if they're going for the fork, if they're not going for an upgrade,
they would have a Pro strap as well, huh?
Right, I think that's a good idea, and I think that's a good idea because the idea of selling like the advanced model if you want a game, great, because it takes cost out of the device, and like what Nathan said, it makes this more of an entertainment / viewer headset and takes up Mike, what Go just lost.
But Mike, you're saying that that's like the guess right now, that this one that we see and might be in it, like we might soon see more pictures of like a different, maybe an improved version, that will replace the current Oculus Quest that we have now. So they go even cheaper.
I think so, yeah.
I think is going to happen, as I said before, is that this will be a headset, the cheap version, $6, that focuses more, as I said, on entertainment, is not necessarily for the heavy lifting. And then the Quest that we have now might be improved with some new features. So they have two headsets. So they sell two standalone headsets. So the Rift S, well, we know what happened to the Rift S, but they have two standalone headsets. So you can pick very cheap or very
I almost think we're going to be they're going to be doing the same thing like they did before with the Rift and the Rift S. They're going to completely release it.
Then we're screwed.
Well, this is the problem.
I'm with Mike on that one.
Like
I'm with Mike on that one.
The current community doesn't want this, okay?
No.
But the average Joes do want this.
Yeah,
but
wait.
The current community didn't want the Rift S either, and that's what they got.
No, yeah, that's true. But I think it might I also don't want this, okay? If I'm talking about the doom scenario right now. But I think outside of that, price-wise, and also like downgrading it at that point, Facebook Horizon, social push, I think could be a really big, like it might be like a loss for the current community, but with the Rift S, they already showed that they don't really care.
The problem that I have with that is that I see Facebook Horizon more as an add-on to the headsets that are already there, because in order to push that platform, you will have to have a community that's already as a free upgrade. If they make Facebook Horizon only to work with a new headset that you specifically need to buy, then it's doomed from the start.
No, but he's not saying that, is he? Nathan, is that what you're saying? Because I don't think that's not what I'm getting. Because like I think it makes sense to
it's social push.
Yeah, to market with it, make it cheap, make it the thing that, as he said, your mom would pick up.
Who's going to buy this headset if you can't play the games on it?
Loads of people, because that's the whole point. Like the Go had a huge market as well. It's $6. You can actually do quite a bit of $6, even sitting, even moving around. And with Mike's ideas strapped onto that, with the Pro head strap, this actually works out as a really compelling business model.
The thing is, like,
I don't see them having two different headsets before Christmas.
Well, I don't know Christmas, but like the thing is, we're living in a VR bubble. This conversation is led by gamers, but there is a big audience out there who doesn't game, but who loves to be social, who likes to play Monopoly with their friends and just chat. I know it sounds.
You could totally VR chat in that headset, silly. And you could totally get into Horizon and do Facebook.
But seriously, Mike, if Mike is right about this, and they're gonna replace it, this is gonna be a very interesting shift. And then it's the moment to have another tech giant to jump in and be like, listen, this is what we have, and we do get you gamers. And then you have maybe a split, but this is a good opportunity for other competitors to maybe then jump in.
So when I see these images, there's one quote that always keeps sticking in my mind, and that is Brendan Arib. Before he left Facebook, he said one of the reasons in a TechCrunch article, he was quoted as saying the reason that he left is that he wasn't interested in a race to the bottom. And we've seen it with the Rift S, and potentially we're seeing that with this product now, is that they're just making it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. They're not addressing the community concerns. They're just saying, look, we just want to crunch the numbers here and make the most affordable headset we possibly can. And I think that is a dangerous thing.
So Mike, are you actually, because I'm trying to understand your corner in this, like, are you basically saying, yes, it's a replacement for Quest as a Quest 2, but they've also undercut it, so it's actually a cheaper headset so that they can go after the mass market. Whereas I think Nathan and I are a little bit more on this is like taking up the market that the Go dropped, and it's going to be the budget headset that's going to help feed the bottom of the pyramid.
Yeah, so you still have the Quest for gamers. They might do some minor improvements to satisfy us all, but that's the positive message. And then you have let's say the successor to the Go with some features of the Quest. That is now what people call the Lite version or whatever it is. I'm sure it's going to have a different name, because you can't have two headsets and call one Quest this and Quest that. I think it's going to be something else. But yeah, that's what I think. But that's the positive version. What Mike says could probably also happen based on what, what people at Facebook have said who work there, but also with the Rift S. Although, Rift S, we do need to realize that Rift S was on the the edge of what PC VR gaming right now is. Just in general, the PC VR market isn't doing that well compared to standalone. So that's maybe something to weigh in as well. But it could happen. I mean, Facebook right now as a company, I heard is, behind the scenes, a lot of people are, communication is kind of strange with the whole pandemic, but also it's a big company. So it could be that someone made this decision and thinks it's super smart. Well, it's not. So I don't know.
But the thing is, what we don't know, of course, is like the internals. Like it could have a faster processor, could have a slightly wider field of view. We mentioned about refresh rate, and Guy Godin sort of said.
If you talk about the internals, because you can like probably get something from the images that were released here, because like we do see a knob on there, but we don't see an IPD slider, right? We don't see something that is. I know that you think that there might be some space in between to still like shift the lenses.
I think so. Yeah.
But what I'm thinking actually, and especially because we're having this conversation now that this might be a Go successor, I'm thinking then that if there's not an IPD slider, that this is a single panel device, so not a dual panel, single panel, and therefore it will also be an LCD panel. So not OLED like the Oculus Quest. I'm thinking that this will be a single panel, and if it's a single panel, that means that also the refresh rate will probably be lower than the ones that they're pushing out, unless they're coming with a new, different kind of.
But I think the way, like when I say successor to the Go, people constantly go like,
poor Zach, Jesus Christ, lads.
Sorry, Zach.
Ah, jeez. He's come into like the spiciest podcast.
So like this is my like.
Okay.
I think it will have bumped up specs. I think it will be faster than the current Quest.
Okay.
I think it will have probably a higher field of view. It will be a nicer headset in the headset itself.
Yeah, but in the headset,
at $299, at $299, but with the optional $100 Pro strap. So then you got
$100 for that strap. Why?
I reckon so. And then it will compete with the current Quest. But it will have bumped up specs and it will address the issues that the community have got. But yeah, in terms of IPD, I think there is some adjustment there in the lenses.
I was with you on that one like last week. Like I said as well, I thought it was going to be a silent upgrade. But since they changed the color, I'm not convinced of that anymore.
Okay. Maybe we should ask Zach what he thinks. Go on, Zach. What do you think of all this? He just thinks it sucks. Like,
honestly, you guys are doing a lot of speculation here, but
yeah.
Typical.
Okay. My personal feelings about where VR has room to grow is that like there are a lot of average Joes out there, but I don't think they necessarily want to get into VR. But the people that do want to get into VR is gamers who think VR looks cool and want to play Half-Life Alyx, but think it's too expensive right now.
Yeah.
And therefore, like making a cheaper headset that still kind of can hold its own against the higher rung headsets could be really good. I don't know if Facebook thinks that. It's possible they don't, and they are just gunning really hard for social VR. That's what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
So we'll just see if they've learned anything from the Go, or if they're still just doing their race to the bottom.
But
I think we have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think you're right. Of course we have to wait and see. But I think it's interesting, like this whole image thing has everyone triggered, which is great because we're super passionate about the industry and we want it to be a success. And sometimes we think that things are going in a wrong direction, and it just might be because we're not seeing the bigger picture. And of course, I'm sure the bigger picture will be shown later on, because there was some date that was also announced by Walking Cat, and that was the 15th of September. And that would roughly sort of coincide with previous years of Oculus Connect. So, 15th of September could be the announcement date for OC7. So we're only like, a couple of months out now, but we're just going to have to keep on speculating for the next couple of months until we get put out of our misery by Oculus telling us the true details.
I think, again, the $299 is the same guess that I was making when I first saw the images to this device. I thought it was going to be kind of an upgrade. And then I saw the kind of what I read as internal prototyping images, and it kind of changed my view a little bit. I do think that this is going to be something that's going to be cheap, though. I don't think it's going to release at the same price. I do think $299 is right on the money.
You can't speculate on price if you don't know what the device is aimed for.
But I think that they're not going to change the... I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to change the CPU in it. Like, why would they? It would segment the market in terms of the devs. Why don't they just go for, the replace... Like what... I'm being careful to step around the words of Word. So a $299 version of the Quest that they've basically worked through manufacturing. They've upgraded the audio channel, which you can see. They've addressed some of the microphone feed issues. They've addressed the comfort and balance. And for the money, I mean, they could go $299, they could go $249, and that will sell like hotcakes, I think. I think it's a really good move. It's absolutely heartbreaking to say that I kind of agree with you, Mike, on the point when you're saying that the Go images looked like a firm head strap when they did the promotional images for the Go. And unfortunately, like Apple, they tend to follow this kind of model with their marketing, and they don't tend to sway very much from that. So you're probably right on that guess, and that kind of sucks because it sucks only if there isn't an upgrade option. But I don't think I could see people paying more than $49 for a strap add-on, especially if it's plastic.
I am a little bit concerned, to be honest, because most of the key members that we knew from Oculus left, and we don't know who's sitting there anymore. We don't know what perspective those people have on VR. I mean, Facebook has also approved certain games that I personally would have not approved on the store for how good they are. Now that's of course the game part, but Facebook does have this track record of sometimes bringing something out that totally does not match with at least what the current community wants, but they do have the data, and they pull a lot of data from the Quest and from the Go, so they might have made a bet on that. Yeah, we'll see.
So some other thing we should quickly address is like the ports on it. So it's got a single 3.5mm audio jack, so it's ditched the second one from the images. The USB-C connector is flipped on its side, which does make sense if you're going to use it for Oculus Link. So the cable runs directly back along with the strap to the back of the headset. That makes sense. The controllers have been slightly redesigned, so they're a bit smaller. They look more kind of like the Oculus CV1 controllers, actually, with the kind of like round disc at the top. There's also a section that kind of protrudes slightly, and it seems like they've addressed the battery door sliding issue with this new design, which is welcome. And that was kind of like also part of the Bloomberg article, and these are what people were referring to as the Jedi controllers, because I think there's some confusion around that. I think this is what the Jedi controllers are, just a slight redesign and refinement of the controller design that we know and love already. Obviously the IPD adjustment thing was a big thing because it's got no physical IPD adjustment slider at the bottom, but from looking at the fresh image that was uploaded like last night, it does look like there's some wiggle room between the lenses. So what that means right now, there was also like a number 2 in the center where the kind of proximity sensor was, and there's been some speculation whether that will be a dial that you can adjust the lenses to different sections, like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, based on your IPD range. So that would be kind of interesting if that was to materialize, because that's something we've never seen before. But like we said, all of this is speculation right now. We do get super hyped about these things because, of course, we're just very excited about new tech. It's always exciting about talking about new tech, in my opinion. But I guess, 15th of September is probably on the money in terms of when we're likely to hear more about this headset. But maybe we'll get some more leaked images between then and now, particularly addressing the IPD issue.
What could be interesting, if I'm sure some people already did, like reach out to Palmer Luckey and some others, key people from
see what they say,
and see what they say, because I mean Palmer made like articles before on his website on the PC VR market on standalone, and I mean he can make he's sometimes getting very close to.
Yeah, but let's be honest about it. If it's super light and it's super comfortable, even though we're questioning this strap, it could be that. And if it is an upgrade in terms of performance over the original Quest, then it's still going to be a good headset. But it's just a question of like, if you bought a Quest already, I wouldn't worry too much, because indications are saying this is a light version, but the content across the two headsets are going to be exactly the same. So
do you think on the strap, guys, that they've addressed the modular nature? I mean, there's a huge community out there of adding to the Quest and like pimping it out, right? Changing out the head strap. Like they could go and learn from what Vive did not do so well with how you connect the head strap to the actual device. So if they made that robust and really easy for people to then mod, 3D print, and actually go with their own connectors,
considering it's
that'd
Facebook,
be awesome.
I don't see that.
No, they don't want people to mod it. They don't want people to mod it. I think like all those Franken-quests we have seen, I think Facebook does not like that stuff because they want to sell something that is good. It proves that their products are just not there yet. And yeah, I mean, Facebook tries to be a little bit like Apple. I don't think they like it when you, I don't know, plug a satellite on your phone or something. You walk around like they just want it to be theirs, and nothing sticks out on that. Because I mean, Franken-quest proves that it was just too front heavy. So
yeah, I think the market's there. You know, if they don't take advantage of this kind of like pro strap model, it's a missed opportunity in my opinion.
Interesting stuff, man. I'm of course like still excited for all of this.
Yeah, of course.
As I said, I'm also a little bit concerned after the Rift S. I want standalone to succeed. I think if it's becoming a standalone, that's already a plus point. If they would say like, oh, let's make another PC VR headset, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's like the right moment to do that. I just hope that the team who is working on this knows what they are doing. Please let it not just be this random team that just builds a headset and has no clue.
And they listen to the community feedback. You know, I think that's really important here.
What about the market, though? Like the market here, like you're getting undercut in Asia by a whole bunch of other types of headsets. So I still think the price is the #1 reason for this headset's existence. If you can't bring the price down and address some of the key features that are problematic in the current headset, this doesn't have a reason to exist.
The problem with the price is that no one can compete at the price that it's at right now. Like it's $399. No one can compete. No one can compete with that. That's so true. If they drop it even further, it means that you're distancing Facebook even further ahead than the competition, because like with all the amount of research and development they've done, all the amazing updates that they've done this year, who can make up that ground at this point? I think the only person
I'm on the opposite
Apple,
spectrum.
And they could no way sell a headset for that price.
I'm on the opposite spectrum, and I know Paul Malocki did a great article about that as well. They can make a headset for free, but if there's no added value for everyone to have a headset like that, then it doesn't matter that it's free. I think it's far more important that the headset itself, regardless of the price, I think the price point of the Quest now is already a great price point. But if they can offer a value with that headset, like they do with the Quest, increase that value by, for example, adding a social platform, something that people want to get invested in more, I don't think they need to change the price at all.
Well, yeah, like the thing is like that price that we talked about, like $299, someone photoshopped on that picture that leaked Oculus Quest Lite with a price underneath it.
That was me.
Oh, that was you. Yeah,
that was mine.
Okay. Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like then people start to that starts to sing around, and then other people also. But what Mike said, like it could to me it looks cheap from the outside. Okay, it just looks cheap from the outside, but from the inside it could be expensive.
Yeah. What's under the hood is going to be the key swinger here in terms of what it's aiming at.
But I think the current Quest is still a great headset. After a year, it's not. It doesn't need a replacement. So I just think it's going to be his little brother.
That's a great segue though into it. You said under the hood, like the little 2. We got to talk about the little 2. I don't know if that's in your lineup here, but we got to talk about the little 2 because there is some proper conspiracy behind this now.
It looked like IPD adjustment, some type of IPD adjustment that we've not seen before in other headsets. That's what it looked like, because it definitely looks like there's room for movement in the lenses. It doesn't look like the fixed lenses of the Rift S or the Go. There's gaps there.
You know what I think it is? I think it's moving the lenses back and forth.
Yeah,
I think the number 2 makes a lot of sense for having an IPD adjuster.
Yeah, like eye relief.
Yeah, glasses wearer.
Yeah, it's a smart theory. I think you could be on the money with that.
And also because the dial, the knob seems to be vertical.
Yes.
If it was IPD, I would assume it to be more horizontal.
The other way around. Yeah, it would.
The other thing is that like this image is screaming at me is binoculars. Those lens cups, the way that they're shaped, look like binoculars, and I think they're going for more of that kind of form factor, which is actually quite a difference with the current headsets for the last 3 or 4 iterations. It's very interesting what they're doing with the nose. I'm a guy with a big nose. I'm interested to see how this fits on my face, because there is like a hard cutoff, and I'm just wondering, you know, Rowdy's gotten screwed on the IPD thing when they did the Go and similar. I might be getting screwed on the nose part. Who knows? We'll see. Will my face fit this comfortably?
You know, to not have an IPD adjustment in there, you know, I don't think they want to go down the same route as Rift S, you know, with locking people out of the headset because of the way that they were born and their eye spacing, you know. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
The real question is, does it run Vertigo Remastered?
Well, it does via Oculus Link, and I think Oculus Link will still be supported with this headset.
That's true.
It would be hilarious if now Zach would be like, oh yeah, well I got one here. Like,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't know what you noobs are all talking about. I've actually got one, you know.
Let's talk about the real thing.
That'd be funny.
It's purple.
Because we've talked about a lot of speculation and rumor, and of course this is all speculation and rumor right now. We just have these images.
It's a fun conversation.
It is fun. It is a fun conversation. But let's move on to some other news.
I'm sure we're right in some way. Okay,
Yeah,
I think we like what we got here.
move on to
is
another
solid.
conversation.
One of us will be right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you guys love this, right? Like, I mean, this is the whole point. We got a podcast. Is like the energy that you get from just these silly little news bits or any news of the industry. I'm just glad to see evolution because I feel like we've not had a lot in the last year, and just after the Quest dropped, this is great that we're now seeing some relatively concrete sources of the next thing.